practice while we trade mics here for a second. Assalamu alaikum. I want to say thank you to Brother Murphy. That was a really, I'm humbled by that introduction, but he really had a huge part in this event as well, like gathering the youth. He's the man of the hour at every event, so we're so thankful that all of you are here and that we can really show BBC and show everybody the dynamic community that we have here in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm always so proud when people come for them to see how large we are and how excited we are to be Muslim. And it's definitely a different type of environment as it is in some of the other places and other countries that people come here from. So I love showing the pride that we have in Islam. I love the topic for tonight, like apple pie and football and Islam. It's so cool how well these things can blend together. I kind of had to come from a different perspective, like I was an American person who had to learn how to be a Muslim. But what's awesome is that when I became a Muslim, that was when I really became a true American. You know, like when I go and I talk to people about Islam, if I give like a lecture or a halaqah, a lot of the Muslims will kind of come up and say, you know what, I've never really looked at Islam that way before. You know, it's really interesting to see it through your eyes, because I wasn't born into Islam, because I came to Islam, I wanted to be a Muslim, I wanted to change my life. I really didn't live life the way that I should have been, and I was so grateful to have these principles to live by and to feel proud of who I was again. And when something that you're born into becomes kind of old, right? Like if you're playing with a toy and you're tired, well, you guys have played with toys, right? If you have your sister's sweater and, you know, she wants it back, all of a sudden you want it again. You know, when something gets old and someone else has it, it makes you kind of want it more. So like when I became a Muslim and I would talk about Islam to non-Muslims, they would start to say, you know what, Islam's pretty cool again. You know, I feel different about Islam now. It's not boring like the way that I thought it was. So when I became a Muslim and I would talk to people about Islam, and I spent all these time with people who were not born in America, I started to really appreciate being American. So it was like they were also teaching me how to appreciate something that I was completely used to. I was used to being able to do whatever I wanted. I expected to be able to do anything that I want to do because that's what it's like when you're born here. That's normal. You know, and to have the freedom to wear whatever I want and do whatever I want. And if I want to pray, I'm going to pray. You know, that was normal to me to feel that way. So to meet people on a daily basis, to meet Muslims, and to live the life with them, I appreciated having those freedoms. I appreciated these things because I got to watch people who didn't have that. I got to watch people who weren't able to just do whatever they want all the time. You know, this was something valuable to them. Family bonding, spending time together, you know, really caring for each other, loving your neighbor, being peaceful, being close to God. These are all things that are supposed to be just like, that's nothing to Americans. Like, we're like, so what? We do that all the time. You know, I do that in my sleep. But for people who came here and really wanted to be American, this was like a dream, you know. And they come here and the girls will come and they'll put on the hijab and they feel like proud to wear it, you know, and they're walking around. And in some countries, it's not like that, you know. So I really was thankful as a Muslim to be an American. I went backwards. And I never felt so much pride in my country. I never felt like, you know what, don't be laughing if something goes wrong over here. You know, don't be anti-American. Like, I felt pride for my country because I saw people, you know, who were happy just to be here. I went to New York recently to film with BBC, which was really cool, and we got to do some photo shoots there, and I love going to the airport. I know that's weird, a lot of Muslims, they hate going to the airport. They're gonna frisk me, they're gonna, you know, I got to go through the x-ray. That was really cool. I was like, man, I wish I had some metal rods like stuck in my bones or something weird, and they would be like, what is that? But while I'm at the airport, I see this chick, and she's like waiting for her flight, and she's covered in camouflage. You know, like, we're used to that in Texas, like the redneck people put on the camis and go to the grocery store, you know. She had on camis. She had cami pants, cami shoes, and a purse. She had a purse with like camouflage. It was crazy, all of it. I almost didn't see her. And we're in New York City at the airport, so people are like, they're not looking at me, they're used to me. People are looking at her. They're like, where did you come from? You know, I knew where she came from, because I'm from here. So, subhanAllah, when I get on the plane, who am I sitting next to? I'm sitting next to the cami girl. I'm like, wow, she is gonna get a load of this. She has to sit next to the Muslim girl. She assumes that I'm not from here, that I'm not American. We get that a lot when we wear a hijab. You know, where are you from? I'm from Dallas. No, where are you from? I was born in Houston. I'm from Dallas. Who says Dallas like that if they don't come from Dallas? You know? So I'm sitting next to this girl, and I don't say anything to her, and then, you know, I'm like, so, do you go out to the lease a lot? No, you don't know what that means unless you wear camis. And she's looking at me like, how do you know about the lease? You know, maybe she's thinking the terrorists are going to the dear lease now. They're going to get us in our cabins. They're going to get us while we're in the hunting lines. Now, I'm American. I grew up hunting with my dad. I know how to shoot all kinds of different rifles. Isn't that scary? You know, I grew up eating watermelon, riding on the back of a four-wheeler, fishing with my mom at a pond. I'm not the typical Muslim, but that's cool. I like being like, hi, you know, I know how to do these things, I know where to start. So when I said, hey, do you go to the lease a lot? She's like, huh? And so we start talking hunting. We're talking hunting gear. Do you like using the bow? No, it hurts my wrist. Yeah, me too. You know, we start talking about all these things, and she's telling me everything about her, and she's opening up, and guess what? She hasn't asked me one thing about my scarf, or about being a Muslim, or anything. It's just two American chicks talking about podunk country, you know. I went to a school where we had 48 kids in our graduating class. Like, I lived down the road. You know, you rode your bike for 5 miles to buy a Dr. Pepper, and that was the biggest store in town. So we talked for hours as Americans. She never asked me anything. And before the flight's about to land, she tells me that she is joining the military, and that she just got married behind her dad's back, and they're about to ship off to Afghanistan together. And I'm like, wow, man, that's awesome, you know, support the troops. And I'm like, are you ready to go to Afghanistan? So then we got to talk about the Middle East together. And then she got to kind of find out, she knew I was a Muslim wearing a scarf, but we got to talk about that. So it was like, I'm American. And then she starts, you know, then she sees that I'm a Muslim. And it was awesome to kind of break the ice that way, you know, to not say, hey, something like I'm an American girl and I became a Muslim, so do you feel awkward around me? Is that okay if we sit together, you know? It was like, no. She got to know me for who I was, and then she got to see who I became. She was totally interested, asking me everything about being a Muslim, what is it like? And we connected on the level of, she had a secret to hide from her family, running off to Afghanistan with her army husband. And I had a secret at once that I had to reveal to my family, becoming a Muslim. So we connected on that level. We found something, and we gave each other advice, and we talked about it and everything. It was awesome. I think that being an American Muslim, like being a Muslim, makes you a better American. You know, like I never appreciated the sweetness of it. I never appreciated the sweetness of anything until I became a Muslim. But I really appreciated the sweetness of the country that I come from. Apple pie never tastes so good. with a little chutney sauce. That was a joke from Facebook. But it really does influence that in me, you know, appreciation for something that some people never have. So I'm gonna pass it on to our brother Abdul Nasser Jenga, who will make me look like this because he's such an amazing speaker. And I'm excited to hear what the youth have to say, but it's definitely, I went backwards, and I never felt more proud of who I am until I started to realize what it was like to be someone else. So I thank you for that, my Muslim community that I'm so proud to be a part of, because I've become a different person in so many ways, and I thank God for the chance, you know, to change my life. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.